12th. This gave us the opportunity to look into the course. Not all of us had taken it. So now with that, are there any quick questions before we go into voting?
Yeah, Ben, I had a question. Commissioner Ells.
Yes.
Could you go over the procedures we have now? That I mean, I know a while ago when Lana was here, I think we had an education committee that used to look at the courses, spent quite a bit of time on the courses. I'm wondering now what happens now? Do we still have an education committee that looks at these courses?
We do. And we don't, these are courses that have come to us for us to review. No different than other courses that in the past. So they present us the course, which is what they did. And now it's up to us to review them and approve them or disapprove.
Okay, so so from now on, we're going to be doing it, or is there still a committee that's going to be looking at it?
Right now, we'll be doing it.
We're going to be doing, okay, all right.
We still, even if we have somebody looking at it from the commission, as we had Lana doing for years, we still have to approve it.
Right, I know we have to approve it.
Remember,
Yeah.
she would always come to us and we review it. That's how we did it for 20 something years.
Right, yeah. I mean, I know she spent a lot of time on it and worked with UConn and all that. So I think, but okay. So I just want to understand that. Thank you.
Right.
This is Jill Conklin for the record. I just want to mention that this is a mandatory class. That's the difference. Not all classes get approved through the commission, but the mandatory ones must be.
Okay.
We have Commissioner Gray with his hand raised and Commissioner Bergquist also, and then Joanne Breen with her hand raised. If you
Who was
like,
first?
Amy, do you want to go first?
Sure. It was actually just a clarification. So I think the last cycle that we had this, I was on that education committee, and I think Ben was too. And then there was
Lana was too. I think it was Lana.
So yeah, so there were like three of us commissioners, and then there was Terry Hastings was on it. I think Kelly might have been on it. Valerie Voto was on it. So there were a number of other people that were also part of that committee too.
I was
That
also
essentially worked with Lucy and UConn to come up with the content and I guess CTR at that point too. And then that recommendation I think then went to the commission. That's what happened.
Right. I think Kristen had started it for some also. Hennessy, was she?
Yep, from CTR. Yep.
Mm-hmm. She was also. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so what I was trying to figure out in preparation for this meeting, I've been trying to figure out, and I wish that Cindy was here. I'm trying to figure out if CTR is getting financial compensation for the courses that they offer.
No, and you can ask Joanne or I anything you want, Peter, on that, but
absolutely,
no, absolutely not. This is Jim Heckman.
Yeah, everything was given out for free to all the schools who had people that went through our Train the Trainer course to teach it.
And again, from CTR today is myself as general counsel, Joanne Breen, our former president, and my paralegal, Jennifer Garcia, is here as well watching.
Mr. Heckman, now with the courses though offered, so there's no licensing fee, there is no, the education doesn't come back to CTR. Like, for example, I believe, and I'm not sure, I believe that Bridgeport Board, one of their sources of income are the educational classes. But they keep that at the board level.
No charge.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the same with
Joanne,
Greater Hartford, Peter.
As well, if you'd like, please.
Yeah, Greater Hartford also charges for the courses, but not one dime of that goes back to CTR.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for clarifying.
Joanne, did you have? I'm sorry. Is that what you want to talk about?
Well, I had a brief comment and then I did have two questions. And it is sort of tying in with what other people have brought out about the process I know that we went through. So my first comment is that someone had asked about how many instructors we had and how many schools were actually teaching our course. We did do research since the meeting the other day. There are 28 schools that offer our course, and there are 59 instructors who completed our Train the Training that are teaching the course. And there are, I believe, 63 courses that are currently available between now and the end of this CE cycle to teach our bias course. And then I did have 2 questions. My only experience personally with the way a mandatory course is approved through the system is based on the process that we went through for our bias course. So the questions I have, in the interest of consistency regarding the way courses are approved, I know we had gone through the education committee and there were weeks of revisions and tweaking the course to make it to get it approved. But in addition, we were required to provide train the trainer classes prior to rolling out our course. And I know Cindy personally did. She was doing nights and weekends, and we offered a lot of those to get all of these instructors up to speed on it. I wondered if this alternate course that's being proposed would also have that requirement to provide train the trainer instruction. And additionally, we were expected to make our course available to all the schools and instructors that wanted it at no charge, of course, and we provided all of our material and videos. So I wondered if that also would be the case with this alternate course. So those are my 2 questions.
Anybody want to comment on that? What's your main concern?
I can comment on that, Ben, if you want.
Go ahead.
Jill Conklin for the record. The course that's before us, the application before us, is not going to be taught by other instructors. It's an asynchronous course. So and I think
it will be
Jeff
available only
I
through
think
this
Jeff,
one
let me
school?
finish for Joanne. Jeff may have even taken Train the Train. I don't know.
If I can answer,
or
I
even
believe
Terry,
Jeff did
don't
take
know.
Train the Trainer on our course, but this is not our course. This is an alternate course. So my question is,
Right, that is
will there
that-
be
that
training
is-
provided?
Excuse me, Ann.
Sorry.
It's synchronous. It's runs on a video. The only people in the video are the people in the video, Jeff and his associates. It won't be taught by anybody else. Jeff may want to chime in here and let Joanne know what the asynchronous class entails.
Excuse
Jill,
me.
It's hard to really understand what you're saying, Jill. You kind of break
Right.
it.
Right, I'm having problems with it. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, and I
me.
apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt, but you were breaking up and I thought you had finished.
No, that's okay. I'm having trouble. It's breaking up. Yeah,
Okay, so I think I'm in better now. I think it was my headset. Hear me now? Or am I still breaking up?
You're breaking up,
Keep
yeah.
freezing, Jill.
Really?
You might want to try turning off your camera, Jill. That might help.
I did pick up on
Shut
portion of
down,
it, so. happy
shut
to-
internet stuff I have went on my other. Anyways, am I coming in better now?
Jeff just
Yes.
popped up.
Okay, so this course is this course before you is an asynchronous course. It's a video with the student, the link, logs in and then listens to it. So there isn't going to be any other instructors. It's what you see. Is that correct, Jeff?
Correct. We've explored licensing our content in the past and that's still an ongoing initiative, but we don't intend to license this course to other providers.
Okay. Can I,
And there's no requirement under the law for that, for it to be licensed.
Okay. Joanne, go ahead.
yeah, so just so I understand this, so conceivably then, you could have, to be honest with you, we were never aware that we could have had the option of having our course approved exclusively for CTR to provide it. We thought when it was approved as a mandatory course that we were required and expected to share it with any school that had their instructors go through our Train the Trainer course. Had we known that, I think we probably would have considered keeping it exclusive. So my concern then is, so if this precedent is set where a school can get this approved for only that one school, then conceivably you could have a number of schools coming to the commission to get their own course approved for only their school. I mean, it could be 10, it could be 100, and then you're all having to review these courses and approve them individually for individual schools. And again, I apologize if I seem to be asking elementary questions, but I'm having a hard time understanding how that would work. Because it's
correct,
so
Beth.
very different from the process we went through.
Jill, you want to speak on that?
Well, part of the approval process, Joanne, was the education committee. And that education committee came up with topics and also talked about how the courses were going to be built and who was going to do what. And that's how it happened. It wasn't like CTR came and said, I want to get this course approved. It was part of a process. They didn't have to offer to produce a course. UConn would have produced both courses.
No, I understand what you're saying, Jill, but in getting our course approved, it was made very clear to us, we were expected to train the instructors and then to share this with any school that wanted to have our content, our videos, they got everything. And I'm just a little surprised that I didn't realize that courses could be approved exclusively for one school.
Yeah, many courses were approved.
Mandatory ones are, I mean, mandatory specifically is
Well-
what I'm surprised about.
But we've had, like in the past, we've had classes, obviously, that weren't mandatory classes, never came to us, were approved by the.
I mean, that I understand, Ben, certainly. I'm sure you get many approved classes that are electives that are approved for only one school, but for a mandatory.
The other, excuse me for a moment, for butting in, but the other mandatory course currently did not require any Train the Trainer sessions.
Our course?
The other one, the real estate law course.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Amy? Your hands up?
Yeah, it was actually a clarification which got answered, I guess. So going forward, if we determine, the education committee or the commission determines that there's one or two mandatory courses that need to be taught, the commission then may be looking, I think CTR just said that there's 24 schools or something that have gone to Train the Trainer to teach the bias class now. So then, taking that a step further, we could look at, 24 plus schools in the future wanting to deliver their own course which the commission then has to review and approve the content for each individual course. And then also assume that the people training that course are qualified to teach it.
That's not part of what we don't evaluate teachers.
But they go to Train the Trainer, so they are trained properly to teach the class.
Not necessarily.
There's always a Train the Trainer class that Lucy has offered.
Not required.
Oh, no. Unmute me.
Whoever's talking is unmuted.
May I ask, who is this? Oh, okay.
This is Lucy Michaud from UConn.
Yes,
We do
Lucy.
Thank you,
not have
Lucy.
Train the Trainer. Yes, hi.
Your volume
We do
up.
not have Train the Trainer classes. We also do not require anyone to sign a contract in order to teach the course.
For the prior mandatory classes you're meaning?
And any mandatory class that I have worked on in the last 10 years,
Okay,
which would be probably 4 or 5 cycles,
yeah,
I've never had any kind of a train the trainer requirement. My role is to assist DCP in putting together the course, and I'm not really involved after that point.
oh, okay. I thought you'd manage the train the trainer because you send out the emails for those meetings.
No, I've never sent out an email regarding train the trainer for anything. Fair housing, maybe that's what you're thinking of when
I don't,
the Fair Housing
remember.
Center wrote a course.
I mean, I'd have to go back and check
probably
emails.
2
That's fine.
cycles ago. Yeah,
Okay.
because the Fair Housing Center also, Jeff Gentis or whoever was over at Fair Housing at that point, I think required the same thing. That was probably the first time that I recall anyone doing that.
Okay.
Okay,
If you could mute me, thank you.
Ted?
Yeah, I guess I'm still having, I mean, it seems to me this is important duties that we do, that is in terms of education. And I guess when I hear the number of classes that are being given to people, I get a little bit nervous. And it seems to me that I would feel better if we knew that each class was given something which was, so they knew what was supposed to be in the class. So what was going to be taught. How it gets taught, obviously, is you can't control that. But at least we would know in each class that it's going to be the same thing being taught. Would be covered these certain things.
I can
So
see
as I
how we
say-
could do that in the future, but currently we don't have that consistency. So we don't want to hold one school to a different standard than to everyone else.
Well, that was the point of CTR, was to have the consistency. That's what I mentioned on Tuesday, that we wanted to keep it consistent, Ted.
Then I mean, Connecticut, in that case, what's really happening is you're suggesting that Connecticut grant an exclusive license to CTR. And that's anti-competitive.
I'm not suggesting that at all. My suggestion is that the content of the class is the same for everyone. It's not that CTR exclusively does it. It's that what we've come up with is used by others who want to teach the same class.
That's,
Let
but it shouldn't
me
go
cut you
through.
off for 1 second, Peter. We don't believe that, with all due respect to Jeff, what he's come up with is exactly what we have come up with. That is our main concern.
But you're not the standard. You're not the arbiter of what is correct and what is incorrect and what is quality and what is not quality.
I understand that, but this is our chance to say that what we believe, and it's up to the board to make the vote.
So to me, what I believe is that you can have 2 equally good different classes.
And that is up to the board for their decision. But what Joanne and I are doing here today is advocating our opinion and our thoughts on what CTR believes.
If I may, just in terms of what's required under the law, there isn't a set standard for what the particular course should be. It's pretty, you can either describe it as vague or broad. So the way I look at 20-319-3, which is the regulation that speaks to the approval of the mandatory courses, there isn't anything specific about what the course should look like. It's the way I imagine it would be is that the commission would approve that the schools teach a mandatory course in this broad subject. So here it says current real estate and fair housing legislation. So whether the commission would say, okay, I would like the mandatory course to be on fair housing. Here, it looks like the commission drilled down to a specific aspect of fair housing law rather than something general. But in terms of the applications that would be coming forward to the commission with respect to a mandatory course, there isn't a standard. So CTR's course is not the standard for what the course should be, and it's not the exclusive course. So Jeff Weiss's course that he's applied to teach on the subject of, because the commission has already chosen a specific subject, understanding racial bias, is the subject. And so his course, to Peter Gray's point, could be something that's equally a good course on this subject matter. And I'm hoping that the commission can come to a vote and that we can kind of stay in the lane of
Right.
assessing the specific application that's being reviewed. And these other things sounds like a bigger topic that maybe we can save it for another time, but I wish we could just address the application. Otherwise, we're going to be here for another
I think
hour.
Can
You're
I
right.
just follow up quickly with Paulette? Just one point is that, I mean, and I understand where you're coming from, Paulette, and I try to narrow the topics as well. And you and I have worked together on a number of issues where we've had to do that. But our concern is that if it's approved today, it will dilute what we've created. And I don't know if Joanne, if you want to add a little bit of that. That is
I'm going to
just
say the
again,
opposite. It could improve what
that is
you're
just
offering. This could be better. This could be better.
Well, again, this is our chance to advocate on behalf of what we've created, and that's what I'm trying to do.
And I believe that the customer should have a choice. You have
I
one
understand
way,
that.
which
Well-
may be good, and this is another way, which could also be good. But to say it dilutes it, that is demeaning a direct competitor's course.
I am
This
not
is an
demeaning his
alternative.
course at all. I'm saying this is what we feel we've created, and we have a certain amount of points in there, and not a knock on Jeff at all, but we feel that his course does not cover what we have created. And I think it's fair for me to say that.
That's
And
right.
that's
It
fine,
covers
Jim.
different things.
Right, but this is not about this. We're reviewing a specific application. This is not about a meeting about CTR defending the content of their course and comparing it to another course. We're here to look at a specific application where this school would like to offer a course on this subject matter. And now it's up to the commission. I say CTR so many times, Jim, the commission to decide whether this particular course meets the objective for this subject. So, great course, CTR and everything, but this is not the forum for CTR to defend their course in comparing it to the course that Jeff Weiss's school would like to offer. So I think we need to just specifically talk about the course, this particular application, and whether the commission feels that this particular offering will satisfy this particular subject.
Let's, as Paulette has said before, we're here to focus and concentrate on the course itself, not on CTR, not on competition between the two courses. We're here to focus on the course itself and contents of such. All right. Who
I
else?
did have, Ben, if could I interject one
Sure.
more thing?
Yeah.
As Jim said, CTR is not trying to prevent anyone else from using our course, prevent other people from having their own course. The problem is this is going to be the mandatory bias course. Ours was approved as the mandatory bias course. Honestly, had we known from the beginning we could have done an online version, we 100% would have done that. We were told it had to be live or live virtual. So those were the parameters within which we created this course. Maybe we could have a conversation with Jeff outside of this about using our content. Our concern, again, as Jim said, is not that Jeff's content isn't valid content or good content. We just feel that the purity of ours was what was approved because there was a need in the world to have this course. We still believe that. And we believe at least through to the end of this CE cycle, we would like that content to be protected and consistent. So I know we are here where we are right now. It's unfortunate. As I said, we would have done an online course had we been allowed to from the beginning. It was made very clear we could not. So that this all came up as sort of an unfortunate surprise to us, that this was a major change in the way this class is being presented.
Wasn't Cindy, though, mentioning the other day regarding that your course could be asynchronous?
That it could be?
Yeah,
Ours, yes, I believe we could put together an online version of that course.
mhm.
And, you know, if Jeff wanted to discuss that with us, you know, the door's certainly open on that. I think, I'm not sure exactly, Cindy, I think tried to reach you, Jeff. I know it's a very busy time for everybody, and she was getting ready to travel too. But, you know, we're not trying to prevent people from conducting business look, the world is run by business. I'm a businesswoman too. From being able to offer courses, that's fair for everybody. We're trying to protect the purity of the content.
Mhm.
And we're only going by honestly what the parameters and the limitations we were given from the Education Committee, from DCP, and from the commission from the beginning.
Thank you, Joanna. Anybody else? I think it was Jeff. Did you have your hand up?
Yes, he was first, and Commissioner Berquist also has her hand raised.
Okay. Jeff? Okay, Amy?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Amy.
Oh, it was just a quick question. So the current CE cycle for 2020 to 2022 ends on May 31st. When will the commission's, I guess, education committee meet again to then determine required classes for that next cycle? Will we meet in June? Will we meet in November? When is that? When would that happen?
Jill can answer that.
This is Jill Conklin for the record. We actually have a meeting scheduled already for the end of this month to talk about CE for 2024.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I apologize, Jeff. Go ahead.
I first want to start by thanking everyone for taking time out of their days to do this. I didn't want to be here as much as anyone else didn't want to be here. This is not typically how I apply for courses in other states, albeit this is a mandatory and slightly unique situation. So thank you for your time and efforts on this. I wanted to address a couple of points here. One, Joanne just mentioned CTR is not trying to prevent anyone from offering the course, but they have an incredibly restrictive contract, which is the sole reason that we are here today, because there was no offer to accommodate the request that I submitted to accommodate our situation here that I presented on Tuesday as well. I was disappointed by that. Cindy did reach out to me yesterday, and I mentioned I have a course that I was filming this morning that we did film this morning, so I wasn't able to as I was preparing for that. And I'm sorry Cindy couldn't join us today, by the way. Circling back to, I have a question. So I grew up in Connecticut, but I never practiced real estate there as a licensee. So is CTR, what's the hierarchical structure of CTR and all the local associations? Is it all one organization, or they roll up to CTR? I'm just not familiar. Maybe that's something Jim or Joanne or maybe anyone on the call can explain to me.
Jim? I don't see it.
CTR is an independent organization from GHAR and ECAR. We work with them and we guide them, and it's similar to state, federal, local government. NAR is our above us on the federal level. So,
and then below you are the local associations. So you're kind of like the middle.
That's correct. Yeah.
The state. And
Exactly.
local.
So Peter made an interesting question earlier about, does CTR benefit economically from the sale of their course? Understanding now that the local associations roll up to CTR in some format, you're saying that the associations don't generate revenue from the sale of the bias and other elective courses from any other provider?
Jim?
I think Joanne's trying to answer that one. She's got to unmute yourself.
Apologize. Right, I unmuted. To answer Jeff's question, so let's take Greater Hartford Association, for instance, is an association that happens to charge for their CE courses. Some local associations like Midstate do not. Any revenue from those courses that are offered by Greater Hartford stay with Greater Hartford Association. That does not roll up to CTR. CTR has nothing to do with the revenue that GHAR gets from putting those courses out.
But you're all members somehow of the National Association of Realtors.
We pay member dues that have nothing to do with additional. Every association has members in it. The members pay dues to our local association, our state association, and the national association. We pay dues to all. You belong to one, you belong to all three. However, revenue that is generated by other means, by various local associations or by CTR on behalf of the state association, is totally separate. We have our own budgets. Every association has its own budget, its own revenue. None of that is intermingled. The dues, the portion of the dues that goes to Connecticut Realtors goes to Connecticut Realtors. The other portions go to NAR. The other portion goes to the local.
I'm still not entirely.
There's no mixing of revenue other than dues.
Because
dues.
because there are local associations that have relationship with other schools that are offering the bias course, and they are generating revenue through affiliate relationships on the sale of that.
I honestly don't, I have no idea how the local associations work it with any schools that they hire. I don't know how they work the revenue stream on that at all. I only know that CT Realtors created this course. We get no revenue from it.
Can I just interrupt for a second? I really don't think this line of questioning is relevant to what we're doing. And I think we're just going to go down this rabbit hole. And I know
Right.
that we're all
You're
so
right.
very
Thank you.
busy and we really need to get to this application. And please, I'm asking everyone, let's just stick to the application, the contents of this, please.
Fair
I
enough.
think-
You're right. I'm sorry.
I think right now, exactly. We keep getting off track here. All right, I'm looking for a
I
motion.
move that we approve the course.
Second? Second to that?
Sorry, Ben, I'll second. I couldn't unmute.
Okay. All right. Further discussion? All in favor? I'm not sure how we're gonna do that.
Aye.
Ben, can we do an individual vote? So we know who's voted, like, because I can't see everybody, even though I've, done gallery view or
I
whatever.
can't,
I don't-
that's fine. Okay, all right, let's see,
Like, can you read the roll and just take a vote from each person,
I don't,
please?
okay, Amy?
No.
I'm running out of space here. Sharon?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Ted?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
Okay, so anybody else I miss?
We do not have Morag Vance, Commissioner Vance or Commissioner Burnham in attendance at this meeting.
Okay. So it's a tie. Then I will vote. And it's yes. So the application has been approved. Okay. I thank all of you for participating and your time. All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Enjoy the long
Thank you
weekend,
for your
everybody, if you
time.
have one.
You guys
Have a
next
ni-
time.
have a nice
Thank you.
holiday.